That is, I know.
At least we have 50% of the act right here. So Raymond, welcome back once again. So I want to just dive in, Raymond. How did you choose to be in the hotel business? How did you get into this business?
As you know, I grew up in Hawaii. I grew up in the rent-a-car business. My father was one of the founders of Budget Rent-A-Car. So since I was 12 years old, I started working in the rent-a-cars, washing cars, renting cars, buying cars, selling cars. And it was at a time that was during, as a teenager, it was during the Vietnam War. So Hawaii became the center of rest and R&R for all the military. And that's when tourism overtook pineapples and sugarcane and all of that and became tourism. And funny enough, when it came time to choose something, it just wasn't sexy to be renting a car. And that my father's friends who were hoteliers and stuff, it looked much more exciting, much more sexy. So that's how I sort of went into hotels. And I started as a Lehrling, an apprentice in the kitchen in Berlin, right, when I was 17.
So do you think today it is more difficult to take a decision for a hotelier for his job today, or was it better back then, 40 years ago?
You mean to go into the hotel business?
To take decisions as a hotelier. Is life more complicated for a hotelier today than it was?
Yeah, well, to a certain extent, I look at it and I say that my daughters are 26 and 28 now, and I think it was much simpler when we sort of got into the business. It's not any different that one is successful in whatever they do, especially in the hotel business, by having mentors that essentially bring you through your career. And so that's something which I found being with the Taj that was deeply embedded in the DNA of the company, is this bond and mentoring of the next generation, always and continuing. So, it's a 100-plus-year-old company, and that's very, very important. And I think it's just as important today as it was before, but it's getting more difficult to do. Right. It's tougher to do.
So in your 40 years, what has been the most important decision that you've taken?
Come to India, of course.
Okay.
No, actually, I definitely say that coming to India, working for the Tata Group, working for Mr. Tata, working with all of the teams that we had have probably been the highlight of my career. It has really been that special. 12 years goes by goes by really fast.
So you would certainly live that 12 years all over again if given an opportunity.
No, I think so. I mean, it's something that I think everybody would give their right hand to have the opportunity to do, to have a brand like that, and to be the custodian of that brand, and to take it to a different thing. Yeah, great, wonderful.
So can you name me one moment at Taj, your best moment at Taj, or one thing that you did perhaps that you did not get the credit for?
We did so many things, I would say. I really, it's hard to say because everyone works so hard together. It's not just one person that does something. It's everybody, and we do it as a team,
So talking about that, I'm going to get a little difficult here, right? And by the way, we've not exchanged any information on this.
I don't know what he's leading to, so let's listen.
There is a perception that you did not entirely have a free hand at Taj. And
who told you that?
There's a perception, maybe I didn't read the Taj well enough. And that your successors, because there have been a few, were given this free hand. Is this a regret that you have, that you wish you had a
I think every experience, from my perspective, I think that whatever you do, it's sort of like what Mr. Tata just said before. So it's whatever you do, you give it your best best effort in what you're doing, and the thing is to be, I guess, sincere and honest about it. So one is not better or one is not worse, and it's maybe for that time it's good, and maybe at another time it's a great idea and you're the champion, and then at another time you're a dog. So
Right.
there's I think the best point is that you make whatever you do, you're committed to it and you believe in what you're doing. So and it changes, it changes. But at the time you do your best for it, and I
Sure.
don't think you have any regrets actually.
So one of your worst days in Taj, was it related to the 26/11, or was there some other event that? Because
Well,
that was a critical.
Yeah, I guess the part that was certainly a challenge was right within that period. We had the Bali tsunami, which touched more or less, I think, 13 of the properties. As you know, Sri Lanka and Maldives were really whacked the most during that time. The Taj Exotica was closed for 22 months. We reopened the other one in 10 months, but there are these challenges and crisis management challenges, which you can apply those same processes, whether it's a tsunami or whether it's a terrorist attack like we experienced. And obviously the one that really, I wrote it to Mr. R.L. Krishnakumar from the magazine, that I said that the 26/11 attack on the Taj is something that going through you, it's deeply embedded in your soul of doing that, and that's something that I have with me my whole life. And it was just an unbelievable experience of how it was treated. Remember, we opened the hotel after 21 days. Mr. Tata was out front of the hotel, standing there almost the whole 3 days, and KK standing in the front of the hotel until everybody got out. So, but more importantly, it's the people there. Those people, they're as we've said many times before. I think one of the things deeply embedded in the DNA of the Indian properties, which are run by families, is that they're multi-generational. It's the 3 generations, 4 generations. It's his uncle, his aunt, his brother. So we as hoteliers spend more time in the hotel than you probably do with your family. So I don't know about Suma, if her husband's going to agree with that she's more at her office than she is in. But I think it's really important. So it's a family, it's a extended family. And whether I'm running the MRICS Hotel as a general manager or whether you're with a group, that same kind of spirit or raison d'être has to prevail.
Right. So, Raymond, at one end of the spectrum was Mandarin Oriental. On the other end of the spectrum, you've got a company which is Mandarin Oriental is completely focused on the luxury segment. And then on the other end, you have Marriott, which has 30+ brands, catering to all possible segments. Which side do you lean towards?
Well, I have to. My majority of my career has been in luxury. It's something that I think that I am comfortable with. I know really well. I was general manager for 16 years. So it's a business and something that I understand well. I think what I learned here was to understand more the depth of what our industry has, because the Taj, having been the leader for over 100 years, was so entrenched in the industry, and that was a fantastic learning for me. So I understand Marriott, and I understand Sebastian and Accor more than I did in that, because I've always been in a mono segment like
Sure.
like that.
Sure. And is there a particular industry issue that stands out for you today that which you would like to talk about?
You know, I think the challenge for the industry was still a challenge when I came and when I started, and it's the people. It's having we need to find the mindset of kids that are coming into our industry to want to stay in the industry and use it as their career, and it's beholden to us to try and build an environment that you can grow them. I think the one thing that was always very important is that when you had a department head or you spoke to a manager, you would say, how many of your assistants are executive housekeepers now? Or how many of your assistants are general managers? And that's, I think, a better testament of the environment that you create. I mean, I came and I walked into Mr. Bomik, Subir Bomik, and it was an incredible, I would say, Subir had just an incredible ethos about the Taj culture, and he embodied it. But there were 1,000 people like with that same attitude, and that's what made it special. I mean, that's how you can create that culture.
Right.
Tough, it's really tough to do.
So you tried to put Mr. Tata on the spot, right? So it's your turn. Your favorite Taj Hotel. Oh. And now you don't have to worry about it. Just name it.
I would have to say, because of it really has to be the Big Taj, yeah.
In Mumbai.
In Mumbai, yeah.
Okay. Now that was an easy one. How about name your favorite hotels amongst the ones you have been associated with? The Taj Group, the Rafael Hotel Group, the Mandarin Oriental, and the Regent International.
Well, you know, it's amazing. I mean, that Regent Hong Kong has gone under so many changes, and it's still a very special hotel. The other hotel, which is very special, is, and maybe I'm biased, is the Halekulani in Hawaii, in Waikiki. Yeah. It was originally a Regent hotel, and I remember speaking to the general manager who had been with Peninsula for 20 years, Urs Aby, who was at the Halekulani, and I remember he came to Mr. Raphael, and Mr. Raphael asked him, Urs, is there anything you would do to change the Halekulani Hotel from what we did as Mandarin? And Urs said, nobody can, you can't change what you guys have done. It's done so well. So I would say that those are special hotels. I mean, the Halekulani in Hawaii and the Regent Hong Kong, which is now back to Intercontinental, right? I don't know if it becomes a Regent now or not, but maybe.
Right. So before I go on with my next questions, we have some of your friends have given us testimonials from all over the world, and I would like to play that on the video.
You're kidding. Okay.
Your deep hotel knowledge, your wit, charm, your global and international flavor, you are the epitome of the perfect hotelier, and you are a mentor to our youth of today and tomorrow.
I always think of you, such a great hotelier. You always used to write in the room numbers for the room service breakfast order knobs back at the mark, and your welcome notes, a calligraphic dream, an artwork. Must have taken you half an hour to do each one. I'm absolutely thrilled for you.
Our relationship is a long-standing friendship that spans almost 50 years. You go the extra mile to make your guest happy and feel at home. It must have something to do with the Hawaiian spirit of aloha. Your love and dedication for the hotel business, your professionalism, and strive for excellence are unmatched.
In a world where all too often the accountants are running the asylum, it's not about the numbers, it's about people. And in that world, Raymond, you are truly the best asset I know.
You've been at the top of my list among the most gracious, kind, and intuitive hoteliers in the world.
On behalf of the CIA's trustees, faculty, staff, students, administration, and 50,000 alumni worldwide, we salute Raymond Bickson on his Lifetime Achievement Award. Raymond is an industry legend, and this is much deserved. He's a treasured member of the CIA family.
Okay. So Raymond, who has been the most important mentor in your life? Is it Mr. Tata, or are there's so many great names out there?
I would have to say that as in my career, I've been very fortunate that I essentially worked for Mr. Raphael for 27 years and worked for Mr. Tata for 12 years. But it's just not, again, it's just not working with them. It's essentially someone you could talk to if you had a problem. It's not like, that they listen. If you needed to get a slap, you would get either a hard slap or a soft slap, depending how they felt. But all in all, it's great because you have that mentor, And so maybe because I worked for Germans the majority of my career, that coming to India was easy to get through all of this,
I wonder how Puneet feels, because he's worked for Germans as well. So.
Well, he was right next to Mr. Tata. I don't know where Puneet went. Oh, he's still there.
Right. So have ever your wife or children wanted to get into the hotel business, and what would have been your advice to them?
Well, I lived in a hotel for 22 years. 22 years. When we came to India, I had to tell Mr. Tata, Connie said, if we live in a hotel, I'm not coming. We're not going to live in a hotel. So, my kids grew up in a hotel. I mean, they were born at the Mark Hotel in New York. And you know that it gets a bit difficult when your 5-year-old or your 7-year-old, there's a light bulb burned out and they'll say, oh, call the engineer. Or you worry about them when they go to college, what are they going to do? You can't just pick up and call room service when they want a hot chocolate. So I would say, and then my wife is a hotelier from Lausanne as well, she's French. And so it's surprisingly enough, it's not something that my daughters chose to do. To my chagrin, I was hoping that we would have that opportunity, but they're happy. The main thing is they're happy.
Right.
But you would say, what would they do? I mean, like all of us, you gotta make sure you find something that you're passionate about, that we need to help our young people, young hoteliers coming to this, and essentially try to guide them until they find that, whatever it is, in hotels. So if they just expect to move so fast nowadays, it's a bit of a challenge.
So Raymond, what do you listen to first? Is it your gut? Is it your heart? Is it your brains? Or is it the accountant?
I guess in that respect, we would not be in the hotel business if we weren't very touchy-feely, so we're very, I know it's a cliche, but we're very people-oriented. And so if you don't like people, then maybe that's kind of tough to be in the hotel business, I think. It's really difficult. So I would say that what turns me on the most is that when you're in a people business, that you're with like-minded people that have similar likes and similar things together, and to be a team. And I think the other point that was very helpful for me is that from a young age, from say 10 to 18, I played team sports and I was on winning teams. So part of going into hotels was that I could have gone and played basketball in Gonzaga or volleyball at Pepperdine, and instead I chose to come to Hawaii. But I would say that being on a winning team helps you understand that as a coach of that team, you have people who are good in one skill and people that are good. One is an offensive person, one's a defensive person. And the idea is to coach them so it's not the team that has the highest scoring player, but it's a team that works together to, I would say, fill in or back up the other person in areas that they're not so strong in. And at the same time, you all work together to improve your skills. So the team building part of it has been very important in my my business life as it has been in the other thing was sports, team sports.
Sure. So last question. Any advice for Puneet Chhatwal and any minefields that he has to be aware of?
Do you have your flak jacket on, Puneet? No, I'd say there's no such thing as an easy job. I don't think. Listen, tell me what's easy, and we'd all be doing it. So there's no one thing, but I know that Puneet has the right heart and the right mind, and comes back to India after a really global experience, and so I thank him for all that he's done to welcome me back here. And I wish Puneet, and I'm always there to help whatever they need, you know. But remember, it's Bickson Hospitality Group. I can give you a special discount, but no, I think it's a great opportunity for Puneet to come back home and after having his career, the majority outside of India, and coming back.